Hi, my name is Calvin Livingston, and this summer I read 1984 by George Orwell. 1984 is a story of a man named Winston Smith and his struggle in a hellish world. It's a book about man versus society and man versus self, then man versus nature and whatnot. A totalitarian government known as Ingsoc rules over its citizens with unrelenting surveillance. Basically, there are cameras and microphones everywhere, even in people's own homes, everywhere. Just constant watching and listening. The party, Ingsoc, actively makes people disappear. In the book, this is called vaporizing, by the way, using the thought police to find and catch those who have even the slightest complaint about the party. Unlike the surveillance that the government employs, the thought police are actual people, and they're kind of covert, kind of undercover. They pose as regular people, so they can dig into the minds of those that they suspect have any intentions that go against the party. Winston is aware of the nightmare he lives in and tries to actively rebels without being found out. Uh, Unlike most of the population, he is self-aware and knows that this is not how society is supposed to function. And I say rebel, but that's kind of a massive overstatement. It's not like fighting or anything. It's more just mundane things, like stuff the party doesn't like. He falls in love with a woman named Julia, and together they partake in activities that could get them arrested if they were caught. At one point in the book, they try to join a undercover resistance group known as the Brotherhood. It's kind of stuff like that. If they were caught, they'd probably get maybe killed. I don't know. Acts deemed illegal by Big Brother. Writing for one's own pleasure, like writing in a diary or anything that isn't work related. Expressing any form of discontent with the party. Basically, making even the slightest micro expression that the party can interpret as, discontent can get you arrested or even killed. It's very, very extreme. And acknowledging past events that the party tells you to forget. If the party tells you to forget something, you forget. And if anybody acknowledges the past that the party tells them, the population, to forget, then they will probably get arrested or even killed. What makes this book so interesting? This book has a gripping sense of depth and emotional highs and lows. It's an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. It's very, very gripping. It's extremely thought-provoking and get your mind racing with questions and answers. I say answers. It's more like theories that you form in your head while you're reading, but it is very, very thought-provoking. Intriguing characters, with Winston being easy to connect with. All the characters kind of have a mysterious, intimidating, I guess, hue to them. Anybody could be an enemy, so you never really trust anybody, except Winston, because he's, the main character. Reality bending ideas of perspective and how we perceive the world and the truth. Like I mentioned earlier, if the party tells you to forget something, then you forget. And if everybody forgets, including the party, it really never kind of happened at all, in a sense. That's kind of more of a surface level topic that this book goes over, but there are a lot more in-depth topics that this book covers. And it's really, really interesting. And it's a dystopia. I mean, who doesn't like dystopias? And yeah, Mandela Effect, kind of an example of what I mean. Interesting quote. This book is filled to the brim with quotable lines, literally every other page. One, however, speaks to me most of all of them. It's one most people are familiar with. Big Brother is watching you. Almost everyone has heard it and understand what it means. But after reading this book, this phrase takes on a whole new meaning. A new sense of looming present lingers within the words of this quote. It's easy to it's really easy to digest. Big Brother's watching you. But with the context of the book charged behind it, it takes on a more ominous sense that somebody who hasn't read the book wouldn't really understand. So, yeah, I'd recommend reading this book, just in general. And that's my presentation.